So I don't know if you're like me. I grew up obsessed with Disney princesses. So much so that I even watched the Barbie versions. And let me tell you something, these movies were something special. All right, there was this one about Rapunzel, and apparently she was like a painter and she was just magical. But there was always one princess in particular that always caught my eye just because she was so different compared to the rest of them. And this was like back in the 90s, like proper, before all the new princesses, and they were constantly trying to break the mold of the man trying to save them. And this was Pocahontas. I loved the story. Like it touched me. The story was so heartwarming and wonderful how she cared about animals. Like, I really just felt like I was a part of that world. The Disney princess, or specifically the Indian princess, as she was referred to as during the time, was actually a real story that not a lot of people know about. She was the daughter of an Anglican chief named Powhatan, who promised her in marriage to the warrior Coquitlam. And I'm sorry in advance if I butcher any of the names, I'm really trying here, who was a brave warrior that she didn't love. Now, Pocahontas would rather be paddling in her canoe or wandering the forest when these European settlers arrive, and all of a sudden, there's this guy named John Smith, the most basic of the men that she could possibly have met. But she falls head over heels for this man, even though he tries to shoot her, and she's like, hey, that's not really chill. The situation, to say, is tense. The settlers desperately want the gold that they're sure that the natives are concealing. And when they're discovered in a secret meeting, a tragic mistake leads both the groups to the brink of war. But only the love of Pocahontas and Smith could prevent the bloodshed between these European settlers and the First Nations. So that is totally not true. Thanks Disney for really trying there. Pocahontas's name was actually Amuet. Her secondary name was Makota, meaning a flower between two streams. And the heartbreaking story of Pocahontas was one of tragedy and violence, like so much bloodshed. It was a story of a young girl who was brutally essayed, kidnapped, and allegedly murdered by those who were meant to keep her safe. Her name was Makota.